Why do we work? What makes us do it day in and day out? Why aren't we more like SpongeBob and live in a pineapple under the sea flipping burgers? I mean, we're humans after all, right? Nothing in Maslow's hierarchy of needs says you need to wake up every morning, get dressed, get in your car, clock into work, come under major pressure, all to just go home and cry into a pillow after you put the kids to bed, and then do it all over again. So again, why do we work? Well, the cynical or service level answer as to why we work is, of course, money. But it's way more complicated than that, isn't it? After all, if it were that simple, then how is it that so many of us are disappointed, trapped, and alone? Gallup's annual employment engagement survey tells us that we're living in a world where nearly 70% of people are dissatisfied with their chosen profession. Another study at UCLA found that 50% of people feel lonely some, really, or all the time. It's so pervasive that it's led the Surgeon General to label loneliness a national health emergency. Guys, 1 in 20 people living alone are presenting with depression. So why aren't we all just packing it up, growing our own food, hitchhiking the galaxy, and letting our freak flag fly? Well, we each have our own reasons. We each make choices. Whether it's while we're making coffee in the morning or talking to ourselves in the shower, we each make choices about who we are going to be, how we're going to show up, and what motivates us to just get up and go each day. Now, in today's world, we view our jobs in life struggles with dissatisfaction for much bigger reasons. We're locked in. We're taking care of people who rely on us. We're working for our safety, our comfort. We're working for connection. We're working to live, and it's overwhelming. But look, living shouldn't just be about survival. It's about living a life that we can stand by. All right, now let's look past ourselves a little and think about the work that we chose. Regardless of your role here, we at our very core are managers of people's homes. The same very space where they seek that same safety, comfort, and connection that we do. We don't just sell a product, we craft experiences for people just like us. People who every day wake up, make choices, face those challenges, and have that potential to do it at the expense of their own happiness. As the stewards of these experiences, we have the ability, the opportunity, and the responsibility to affect lives. And if we're not serious about that on top of all the other obligations we have, then aren't we just being complacent and adding those 70% of people who are dissatisfied with their jobs, the 50% who are lonely? What if the real reason we work isn't about how we feel about it, but how we make others feel? What if we work not for ourselves, but for and because of each other? What if success in our work looks more like mirroring our humanity in our interactions than it does about our numbers, our titles, or societally imposed perceived qualifications? Now, let me share something personal. It's something I've never said out loud in a professional setting. Heck, I barely even said it in personal ones. But, why not say it here in this nice little tight, intimate chat? I never finished college. I was the kid who had every advantage. I had tutors, SAT prep classes, and parents who could pay full tuition. I had the world at my feet, and I blew it. My time in the classroom, it just didn't help me to find my why. And it took me more than 20 years and some good advice to figure out that was okay. Now, when I was deciding to step away from college, I called my grandpa, mainly because I was terrified to call my parents. This was a man who at the same age flew as a tail gunner over Europe in World War II. So way more problems at that age than I had. But like me, though, he was more comfortable on a bar stool than he was in a boardroom. Now, I called him on my way back to the apartment, fumbled through my rehearsed speech, and on the phone, he went silent. What he said next was a much deeper cut than I could have ever expected from Mom and Dad. In a low baritone came, "You come from a family of immigrants, people who didn't have the opportunities you had. The decisions you make now, they're going to impact way more than just you. Now, we don't need you to finish college to love you, but others, they're not going to see it that way. You're going to struggle to earn trust, and not a lot of folks are going to give it to you without that piece of paper that they give you at a graduation. By making this choice, you have a responsibility to find yourself, and whatever you do with that, make sure it helps those who come after you." Now, that advice from him founded my entire perspective about why I work. Today, 20-some years later, I can say with conviction that the why in why I work is that each day I choose to do what I do so that others can go out and do what they have to do. Now, good intentions won't make it alone, though. According to Harvard Business Review, yeah, ironic, I know, quoting Harvard, 69% of jobs created in the last 20 years were in occupations that require a bachelor's degree or higher for entry. Guys, that's 7.4 million jobs that someone like me, someone who made a choice like mine, is automatically ineligible for. Yet here I am at a director level because I followed my why to find success. There's power in that for all of us out there who question the choices we make in our journey so far. Now, in my multifamily career journey, especially in P&C, I've spoken with thousands of people like you and me who just fell into the industry. And like many of them, that pivotal choice that I just dropped about leaving college, it's not all that far away from the choices that they shared with me about the path that they took on their way to becoming who they are today. Who among us hasn't made a tough choice based off of our own inner truth? Yet here we are, carving out a place for ourselves in an industry that requires authenticity of character to define a living experience for someone else. Each of us has something we're afraid is going to limit us, some choice that we hide, some secret bit about ourselves that we're afraid was going to get in the way of our success. But that's just part of being human. And when we embrace that as an asset in this human industry, I'd argue that we unlock something incredibly powerful. We unlock the power of connection. Think about it. Multifamily housing is unlike any other industry. We're not selling a product. We're making choices in the moment that create connections. Think of that single mom coming home from work to the apartment with no AC just to see that maintenance team member choosing to make it right. These are real people having real experiences just like us, making choices, feeling overwhelmed, and there we are, the people who show up at critical moments to do what we choose to do so that others can do what they have to do. Now, it's a beautiful thing to think about, right, in the moment. But what if I were to tell you that in our lifetime, the choices that we make about why we work are going to become more important than ever? In 2010, there were about 25,000 units under development. Just 12 years later, 200,000, far outpacing condominium growth. Now, the hedged bet here is that the housing affordability of Grandpa's generation, it's just not going to be a thing anymore. We're going to see multifamily continue to evolve as one of the most basic and essential functions of society. And right alongside each new build, it's going to be those ever-increasing levels of depression and loneliness in the people for whom our choices create experiences. By choosing multifamily as just a job, we're making a choice about an opportunity. But by finding and using the why behind why we work, that opportunity, it becomes a responsibility to be who we are at our core and use the power of connection to define how our residents and the teams responsible for them experience life. It's a responsibility, but we can't and we shouldn't do it alone if we're going to do it for all. Now, in my time, I've learned that all of us choosing to be here aren't just folks wearing the same Cardinal jersey. We're a worldwide team of people who choose to do the work we do with and for others. When we as a team acknowledge that it's our collective humanity that drives why we work, we'll always find the right and true ways to create real communities of inclusion, pushing back on loneliness, on those feelings of dissatisfaction. Success for us it's not measured by our titles or our awards. It's measured by our ability to work through moments of tension, disagreements, and conflict. And to understand that it's our mistakes, our hidden feelings of shame that give us the humanity that we need to harness the power of connection. And when shared collectively, it's our connection that becomes our greatest asset against the loneliness pandemic that we know is going to affect every community we've worked together to create. All right, so what's the call to action here? Well, the answer, it's simple, and it's a dare. I dare you to be curious about yourself and about the people around you. I dare you to know that in this business, it's your humanity that defines your success. I dare you to be as vulnerable with your team as I am right now. It's that self-awareness and that trust that creates the connection that we all seek. Because in our business, you can't be successful until you realize that someone at your community, whether they're a resident or a teammate, lives with and acts on the very same types of choices they made to be who they are in the moment. Together, we're standing at the starting line of the future of housing. Humanity comes first, and the P&L and performance metrics are going to follow. Because at the end of the day, we don't need to live in a pineapple under the sea to find happiness and satisfaction in our own lives and then model it for those who come after us. It's staring us in the face. It's in the wave you get from that resident. It's in the face of the teammate who laughed along with you at 3 a.m. in a down unit. It's in the future you are going to see play out for years to come as we define why we work in multifamily.